Good day guys, nice to have you here. Today we will discuss the 12 easiest yet powerful heroes you can play to rank up. Also, we want to list heroes that are easily accessible, or in other words, have a ban rate of less than 1% on the upper ranks. In addition to that, I will also provide some recommendations that can help you play these heroes effectively. If you are, however, looking for the top heroes in December regardless of difficulty and ban rate, then I suggest watching this video instead. I'll leave the link in the comment section for you guys. The heroes we have in this video were chosen based on advanced server and original server updates, official data from the developers, and feedback from former and current Mythical Glory players. Finally, these heroes are categorized based on their primary roles, not the lanes nor zones they are ideally played in. If you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like, share, and if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. Hylas is a very formidable tank and is played almost the same way as Belric. Get to the front lines and get as close as possible to prevent enemies from escaping. Make sure to prioritize both his ultimate and first skill, and use his ultimate once the enemies are already engaged or committed in combat with you. Doing so will prevent them from escaping your ultimate's range easily. Another reason why he's so good is he can be played on any lane or role effectively, including the jungle, because of how efficient his first skill is in clearing camps and minions. Unlike other heroes that rely solely on mana, he can spend his HP instead in casting skills, which gives him the ability to stay on the battlefield for extended periods of time. This trait of his makes it ideal to have Guardian Helm because of the ridiculous HP regeneration it provides. Belric is a very powerful tank that's capable of dealing damage back to the nearest enemy when he is attacked. This skill of his gets activated by skills as well. This makes Vengeance and Blade Armor very good options when playing him in order to make attackers pay. In order to become effective, you have to make sure you are always on the front lines and use your second skill to do so. Once you are within a good range, use your first skill in order to taunt enemies and force them to attack you. His first skill allows him to also effectively use his ultimate, which immobilizes enemies within its range. In order to increase Belric's passive skills damage, I highly suggest using defensive items with high HP, such as Cursed Helm, Guardian Helm, and Twilight Armor. If you are having a hard time playing him with Vengeance, you can also try Flicker in order to gain better positioning. In my opinion though, he is very easy to play with even without Flicker, and should be played with Vengeance in most situations. He can be played well on the XP lane, but is best played as a roamer. Irithel is a very underrated hero. She can be very problematic for a lot of enemy heroes, especially against most melee heroes. I find it astonishing though that the developers labeled her as a difficulty 5 hero, since she is one of the easiest marksmen to play with, especially because of the auto attack feature, which allows her to keep attacking while moving, a feature that wasn't present in old Irithel. One thing you have to consider though is maximizing the features of her ultimate. Depending on the situation, her ultimate is best used as a spacer, since Irithel leaps once it's activated. In most situations, use her first skill first in order to lower down your target's defenses, then regular basic attacks, and second skill. And if the enemy still manages to survive and get closer to Irithel, that's when you use her ultimate to create more space. The best time using her ultimate early is during teamfights when enemies are clustered together, since its damage splashes. Her only drawback is that she is a pure marksman that's only ideal on the lane because of her lackluster damage in the early game. Once you get her some of her core items though, it will be challenging for a lot of heroes or enemies to take her down or survive her bolts. Popple and Koopa may not be the most straightforward marksman, since you have to do a bunch of skill casts to play him effectively, but what makes him easy to play with is his adaptability and ability to roam the battlefield alone because of his traps, and of course Koopa, his wildlife friend. Koopa received a buff recently which allows him to deal higher damage against jungle creeps, therefore making Popple and Koopa ideal junglers. Popol's traps also provide vision and can be very helpful in both avoiding danger and hunting prey. And since his traps can provide vision, playing on the side lanes can be fairly easy as well, even without a support to aid you. Just make sure to plant traps on key areas that your enemies can use to gank you. Also, make sure to improve Popol and Koopa's damage as much as possible since Koopa's HP scales according to Popol's physical attack. With the upcoming buff to Golden Staff, giving him that item plus Demon Hunter Sword can be a very painful combo. Top it up with Inspire, and you should be on your way to taking down heroes quickly. Hilda is very easy to play with as long as you know the very basics of her skills. Her attacks mark her target, which reduces their defense, and at max stacks, her ultimate will deal significantly higher damage that can obliterate squishy and tanky heroes alike. As much as possible, apply max stacks to enemies before using her ultimate on them. If you use her ultimate without max stacks, the damage may not be enough to take them down. Also, she's a hero that should almost always be built with minimal damage items. Instead, improve her survivability by improving her defenses and HP pool. Doing so will allow you to stay long enough in battle to max out your stacks. Besides, the defense reduction she applies on enemies can be very useful for your allies as well. In order to achieve max stacks efficiently, I highly suggest alternating basic attacks with her skill casts, especially her second skill. Don't cast her second skill continuously. Instead, cast her second skill, then basic attack, then the second phase of her second skill, then another basic attack, and finally the third phase of her second skill. By doing so, you'll be able to not just deal heavy damage, you'll also efficiently apply stacks quickly, therefore maxing it out. She is perfect as an XP laner and roamer. For experienced players, playing her as a jungler and mid laner can be very oppressive as well to the enemies as long as you are rotating properly around the battlefield. Aulus is another underrated hero which is extremely easy to play with, especially as a jungler. You have to simply make sure that you farm efficiently and don't waste time. The sooner he reaches his ultimate's level 3, the better. Another great thing about Aulus is you don't have to build him squishy. You can instead build him the same way as building Hilda and can be very difficult to take down. Because of his massive damage and range on the late game, reaching and destroying your enemies will be very easy. Not only does he have a wide range of attack, he also doesn't rely on skill combos, but instead deals most of his damage using basic attacks. Since he relies mainly on basic attacks, killing off enemies will be as easy as button mashing. So easy in fact, even low ranks can play him effectively as long as they farm fast and get a right balance between survivability and damage. Chang'e is extremely easy to use because of her splash and range skills. In order to play her effectively, I highly suggest using her second skill first, which greatly improves both her first skill and ultimate. She also gains movement speed, which makes it very difficult to chase her, especially once her ultimate is activated. You just need to try your best in aiming to avoid silly mistakes, and since her range is fairly wide and long, that wouldn't be too difficult to do. Getting Glowing 1 early is one of the best ways of building her, since she greatly benefits from its unique passive, which allows her to effectively and efficiently get rid of both squishies and tanky targets. She is also very useful in taking objectives due to the chaos and heavy barrage it causes on the battlefield. Lu Yi is another hero that is very easy to use. She's equipped with burst damage and control ability, which allows her to fend off most enemies and can be very useful in any lineup because of her ultimate. In terms of control, she is very easy. Same as Chang'e, just make sure to aim and never quick cast your skills. Just like her, she also benefits greatly from Glowing 1, and with an ultimate capable of surprising enemies and escaping, she can be very useful in taking or stealing objectives. Matilda is probably one of the easiest primary supports that have a very easy playstyle yet pretty good survivability because of her escape mechanics and shield effects when her skills are combined with certain battle spells. She is also very straightforward and does not require too much practice. You'd probably be able to play her pretty well even if it's your first time. Her first and second skills are self-casting or basically does not require aiming at all. You just need to be within close proximity of your targets, while her ultimate is a target locking skill that's very difficult to avoid once it's activated. A good way of playing Matilda is by activating her first skill first, then her ultimate in order for her to deal more damage efficiently to the enemy hero where her ultimate locked onto. Lolita is a very useful hero, especially against a lot of meta picks such as 1-1. Her second skill is very useful and can give you the victory a lot of times. As much as possible, activate her ultimate while in bushes in order to catch some of your enemies off guard. And in the event they will escape or will be able to escape, use Flicker while casting the ultimate. As long as you keep your allies' well-being in mind while playing Lolita, you'll be able to yield good results. Same as any support, she is best played with defensive equipment, and because of her skill set, is ideally played as a roamer only. Karina is a very versatile assassin that can be played with high burst magic damage or a combination of magic damage items and defensive equipment. Being versatile is what makes her great and easy since you can build her according to your playstyle. Basically, instead of you adjusting to Karina, Karina adjusts to your preferences. Also, her ultimate is a target locking skill that can be used pretty effectively even if you're just button mashing. Just set your target priority to low HP and you should be on your way to getting kill streaks. Of course though, target locking and properly aiming is still a better idea, but for newer players who aren't used to such mechanics, searching for low HP targets and simply tapping her ultimate once they're within range should be enough in most situations. I highly suggest playing her as a jungler. Eamon is another hero that's very easy to play with. Same as Karina, he is also very versatile and can be played with burst magic damage in mind or a combination of damage and defense. Also, same as Karina, his skills lock onto his target, so escaping is close to impossible unless the enemy uses Winter Truncheon at the right moment. So, set your target priority to low HP and let that ultimate of his rip enemies to shreds. Oh, and of course, Glowing One. Glowing One is so good on Eamon. There you go, those are the heroes that are rarely banned and fairly easy to play with in ranking up. If you disagree with this list, do let me know what heroes you have in mind on the comment section below. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Stay safe everyone. Peace.